Eileo guys, and welcome back. So for today's account review, it's more like an account revisit. This is from my good buddy over here named Eileo. He's been playing for quite some time, but he did take a break from MSL, but he was, I guess, interested in returning. But he told me to take a look at his account and give any advice that I see fit or anything that he should be aware of, just so he can get back on track since he's been out of the mix for a little bit. But without any further words, let's go ahead and get started. So Eileo already went ahead and I checked out your mon box. You don't really have any issues gemming your mons incorrectly for whatever that you use them for. I feel like they do perfectly fine. A lot of your mons are pretty darn nice in terms of being built, so I don't have many complaints there. But let's go over here just to some golem teams real quick, just to pick those out for you, because your old setup where you were running like 2 Dark Monas and Fire Jacka and what was it? Fire Persephone, Evo 3, like that setup just isn't optimized for B10. You have 3 wave clearers and 1 sapper. It's better with 3 sappers and 1 wave clearer. But just for B8 real quick, I mean, you already have 2 Dark Monas, so basically Dark Monas, whoever that has a super duper fast animation. A team like, where are they at? Do you have a water Mona? No water Monas. She might slow you down. Just someone with some dirt nasty fast animations. I mean, you can bring Drac in there if you want. Seedler, you can keep Drac in there. Wild Fang, heck, you could run 2 Dark Moonflowers, 2 Dark Monas, bam, B8's done. Only way to speed that up is just to get a mon on a Siphon set. I'm sure you already have some on a Siphon set, but bring any Siphon set mon in there. Sarah, Tina, Draka, it doesn't matter. Congratulations, your B8 team is done. But for B10 though, I did try this setup earlier. I didn't record it, but I did try this setup earlier, and I'm sorry boys. Water Yuki, even though she's a sapper, oh my goodness, I'm just not a big fan of Water Yuki. I have one at Evo 3 and I never use her. I'm just not a fan of Water Yuki. Her damage is just not there because she's a tank type, and her animations, especially if you super evo her, are just dirt nasty slow. So I suggest that you hopefully can pick up a different sapper, whether it's Water Artemis, Wet Miho, whatever, just any other sapper besides Yuki, because she's really hurting your time. But this setup should be perfectly fine. Again, you don't have to use Sarah. You can use whoever you want. You could bring back one of your Dark Monas in here if you want, but I would run it with of course Draka as a wave clearer, and you can use Dark Mona as a wave clearer, and then 2 sappers. Your Fire Purse, she's perfectly fine. You just need at least another sapper, and then if you can get this 3 sappers, you don't even need another wave clearer. You can just bring in Fire Jacka if he can one-shot the waves, which he can obviously do, and 3 sappers, and congratulations, you're done. Or, if you're interested, since Mowgli's back for this month, you can also collect some light Mowglis and get them to Evo 3 and run them for B10. So 4 light Mowglis for B10. Not the same as Light Fennec, but pretty close. Congratulations, you're done with B10. That will be my suggestions for you, but if you want to do it the easy way, which albeit takes a little bit longer, just get 2 more sappers. If you want to use Water Yuki, go ahead and use her, but at least boost her attack up, because just not a fan, man. Just not a fan. In terms of dragons, just in case you forgot about dragons as well, I noticed that you did have a Dark Nike. I don't do dragons B10. I don't do it, so my knowledge here is very, very limited. But of course, you can bring in your Dark Nike, since she has what, defense down and stun, I believe. I believe one of the guys from Kaizen runs like triple Dark Mihos and a Dark Nike or something like that. But just tanky mons. I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you something that I'm not sure about because I just don't do it. But I know Dark Nike is like a staple there because she can do defense down and she can stun. I guess you could bring in Miho and either 2 other tanky mons or 2 mons that are able to one-shot the dragon. So maybe Gatito, maybe Dark Mona, maybe Dark Wild Fang. I'm not 100% sure. I am not 100% sure, but you do have 2 Dark Gatitos. You have 2 of them. So you could essentially almost one-shot the dragon. Something to keep in mind, something to keep in mind. But for the other dragons, if you're interested in doing those as well, it follows pretty much suit, where if you're fighting the wood dragon, obviously you could bring in Leo. Feel free to bring in Fire Yuki. You could bring in Fire Draka, and I would just run just another DPS. So Fire Sig if you want. You could bring Succubus for the defense down, but you do have Fire Yuki, so there's no point in bringing Succubus. But pretty much anyone you want with a team like that, you should be alright. You shouldn't need heals. Same thing with the Fire Dragon. Bring in your Water Nike. You can bring in Arthur for some DPS. You could bring in Dark Monas for DPS, and you should be clear there. For the water one, Anu works there. What does Yaksha have? Sleeping. I mean, I guess you could bring Yaksha. You could definitely bring her. Banshee works there perfectly fine. Dark Monas, congratulations, you're done. Like, dragons shouldn't be too much of a problem for you, especially if your mons are gemmed the way they are. They shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. In terms of Colossus, now I'm out of the Colossus mix because I don't do all of them, but I can show you the ones that I believe you should have no problems doing at all. So you already have your Light Colossus team set up, so Dark Thor, yeah, Light Colossus, your Light Colossus team is perfectly fine. No problems whatsoever. Dark is pretty similar. Dark, just aim to nuke them as well. You might be able to get away with using the same team for Dark and just nuking him. I can't remember right off the top of my head who I used, but yeah, it's basically just nuke, just like Light, but it goes a little bit slower on Dark. And then for, what is it, Wood Colossus, you could probably definitely bring Draka in, but I feel like you need maybe some CCers instead, which you have plenty of. So for Wood Colossus, you could definitely bring in Leo with the HP lead, but honestly you're better just bringing in Fire Yuki with that defense lead. Fire Yuki, you have a Shinobi. Them two right there could basically solo it. I mean, of course you get Verdi in there. I'm not sure how good Fire Incubus's damage is in there. Fire Sun Wukong works, but then he doesn't work because his C Strike is on his 5-star skill, so you have to build up his SP to get to that point to do damage. But if he was all that you had, then he would work in theory. It's just not a good time, in my opinion. Not a good time. But for your second team, again, maybe bring in Fire Draka and any other Sea Strikers that you have. Really, that's pretty much it. I mean, any other Sea Strikers are hard-hitting mons, and that's pretty much it. I do have videos on those though if you want to get more in depth with it. I can't tell you right offhand because I just don't remember my teams because they've been set in stone for a while. But I don't see you having any problem with Light Colossus, Dark Colossus, or Wood Colossus at all. So I wouldn't worry too much about Colossus unless you're interested in doing the what is it, the water and the fire. Fire. You do have two Sparkets. You have a Sparkets and Purse. So fire shouldn't be that big of an issue because you could always bring in Wet Victoria, aka Wet Nike, Purse as a healer if you want, Sparket, Wet Barona for one team, and then the other team, again, probably a healer, someone that could do defense down, and 2 more Sea Strikers if possible. And congratulations, man, you are done. It's over. You're finished. But those are just suggestions for Colossus. And addressing your PvP question, once again, I am not an expert in that field. One day I will get good. Maybe one day. Don't hold your breath though. But addressing your PvP questions, you do have a lot of potential with your current mons. In terms of PvP, I'm just going to bring out some of those that may have potential and may not, that you can kind of think about. I'm not exactly the one to ask for that, so definitely check out either Oh My Gigs or let that dude Hayden hit you up, and I'm sure he could help you out way better than I can. But your Fire Ender, he's on a ruin set with 85% crit rate. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be super amazing, but he should be pretty fun to use, so he has potential. Fire Jacket always has potential. Always has potential. And he's, what, 91% crit rate? Good, solid Mon. Wet Purse is still good as a staller. Very, very annoying. And yours has max resist. Evo 3, very, very annoying still. So she's still fair game. So is Water Nightmare, which you do have some resist on her as well. You're rocking 78% with her. And you have another purse. You have 2 purses. So you can actually run one of your purses with a crit lead if you want and get her resist up if you want. But looks like you have this one built with more damage. But if you're running 2 purses, why not, man? Why not? Let's see who else. Eileo, he right now has been like not the king, but he's been fairly annoying. So in the future, if you can get him built up, he's definitely worth the investment. I don't have one myself, but I've seen plenty of dudes go in there with Eileo, even 2 Eileos, and just get his stun off as fast as possible and just stun lock everything. Just stun, 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 and never stop. So he's very good on the attacker side. Now what teams? I don't know. I don't have one. We're not going that in depth. I'm just saying he's a good pick. It's nice that you have him and that he's triple square master race as well. Light Siren. I have a Light Siren, but I use her part of my lazy squad, so I'm not necessarily comfortable recommending her to you because you might have a different squad because we have different mons. Dark Leo is useful as well. You do have him with 91% crit rate, so definitely keep him in mind. I'm not positive how good Dark Monas are in PvP. I think they potentially could be a problem as well. Dark Miho, always an interesting mod to have in terms of PvP. So is Dark Succubus, which obviously you've been working on these mods before you took a break. Always wonderful to have either in PvP defense or maybe your attack team. Wild Fang is now more viable than ever if you can get her crit rate up, because I know that she has what, the 30%. So if you can get her crit rate up, even though she's triple triangle, she will hit like a truck and get her super evoed up. So she's pretty much more viable than ever before. I mean, right now is the time for her to be viable. And then also Dark Sparket is another great choice. He might pair fairly well with your Light Leo. I'm not an expert on it, but he does have the same kit of where he can get his SP up, so he can do all kinds of stun actions, all kinds. And then who else was there? Oh yeah, I've seen like Jamin before Jamin quit. He ran, I think, like Dark Miho, Dark Odin, Dark Sparket lead, but Dark Odin and Dark Sparket was a cancerous duo because once Odin had gotten her defense down off, again, my PvP team sucks. Sparket just tore me up with all kinds of stuns, man. All kinds of stuns. But those are just some of the mods that you have that I felt like were worth mentioning because they do have potential. It's just a matter of getting them set up properly, which again, I'm not going to recommend. And also, don't forget about your Wood Valk, because I remember back in the day fighting her probably like, what, half a year ago? Maybe a year ago. And her with her 80% resist on an HP set, holy crap, man. Holy crap. Attack, defense, HP. She would not die, dude. She would not die. She just 100% bad time. But in terms of everything else though, I mean, again, take my PvP advice with a grain of salt. You might need someone else to help you tweak out some good PvP defense and attack teams. But for what it's worth, you definitely have a lot of mons that are built properly. You definitely have the mons and the resources to do Titans fairly well because you have Sea Strikers from all over the globe. And you got plenty of nukers. And once again, plenty of Titan mons and a decent group of mons for PvP, both offense and defense. So the sky's pretty much the limit for you, Kalex. So if you need any more help, feel free to hit me up on the Discord or ask one of the guys here, like Oh My Gigs, Hayden, about PvP advice. And if you're interested in coming back, for sure, hey man, glad to have you back. But once again, thank you for allowing me to review your account. I do apologize that it took a while, but it's done now. I definitely hope this video helps in some form or fashion. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.